Panchavarnam elected Panchayat President of 8 villages. First woman in 5 decades to stand for elections in this Panchayat. There was such a resistance to her candidature that people refused to vote. In a constituency of 2,000 people, only 500 votes were polled, 375 in her favor. Nobody accepted her as the president, although she had won. It has taken Panchavarnam a good 2 years to internalize the powers. Water, electricity and public transport, the essential lifelines of a progressive village, have been procured through her efforts. Her opponents are now the beneficiaries of her decisions. As opposed to the glorified, self-sacrificing peasant woman, Panchavarnam's recent life reflects her guiltless joy. She has been married for 17 years, but could not conceive. She was known as a childless woman. Today, she's carrying a child, but her husband is not ready to accept it. Yet, Panchavarnam has decided to go ahead with her pregnancy. A shocking decision for villagers, unthinkable for ordinary women, but a natural choice for her.
பெண்கள் பலமா இருக்கணும்னு நினைச்சா நமக்கு கல்வி முக்கியம் தேவை. ரெண்டாவது சொத்துரிமை தேவை. இது ரெண்டும் இருந்துச்சுன்னா நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில முன்னேறலாம். பெண்களுக்கு பலமா இருக்கிறதுக்கு அது ரெண்டும் முக்கியம்.
Panchavarnam is not the only one. Ever since 33% reservation of seats for women in panchayats became effective, gender equations in villages across India are changing. It is the legacy of women's movement that has transformed victims into protagonists of social change. Panchavarnam was trained for a role as a political representative by Ekta, an NGO working in the villages of Tamil Nadu. Ekta has been mobilizing and training women to participate in the elective political process. The group holds regular workshops to explain women's rights, duties and powers of local bodies, administrative and political structures. Reservation is insufficient without such education and training.
Right now it is too early to make an assessment. 2 years. When they were illiterate or semi-literate, from that stage, we are expecting too much from them, maybe. Asking them to be ready to take on all this responsibility one side, and also to digest all these legal aspects. Everything, we are pressurizing them. So I think we have to give them that pace at the rate in which they can learn and understand things. And they will definitely do.
In rural politics, the rumblings of change are now becoming louder, and women in national politics are fast becoming a visible force. Along with issues of development, they're also raising feminist issues. 1998 became the landmark year when women from all political parties demanded 33% reservation of seats for women in parliament. The issue of representation through reservation for women became the focus of a national debate.
Arrangements for the next parliament.
I'm very much in favor of reservation. I've been raising this issue inside the parliament, outside the parliament, and I'm convinced unless seats are reserved for women in the Act, it has a statutory backing, women will never get their due representation.
I think it's very, very important that women should be given their responsibilities in the parliament without any reservation in the mind of people. I'm talking in a different way. It is the reservation in the mind of people which is obstructing the women to come into power.
Empowerment manifests itself in different forms. Along with its social impact, it has a deeper influence on the individual who internalizes it. Badli Bai is neither educated nor articulate, but she's empowered enough to own a bank. And so are 28,000 illiterate but enterprising tribal women in the villages of Jhabua. The only difference is that their banks do not have a building or a cash box. They operate out of a hut, and a simple notebook is used to maintain accounts. The idea began with Badli Bai. It was a simple scheme. In every village, women were formed into groups of 15 members. Each woman had to save 1 rupee a day. Today, Badli Bai's group alone has 150,000 rupees in their account, and the entire district women's banks have a total of 30 million rupees as their savings. This huge amount of money has freed tribal women from the clutches of exploitative moneylenders forever. The scheme was promoted by the Rajiv Gandhi Watershed Mission, a state government body. Women's group were not given a formal shape to keep them out of bureaucratic paperwork and, more importantly, to make the women feel in charge.
इस समूह में ये कुंडली में हमारी मतलब पत्नी भी है. जब हमको भी जब पैसों की जरूरत पड़ती है खाद लाने की बीज तो हम उसी से पैसे लेते हैं.
The concept of Indian woman as the shadow of her man has never been so clearly shattered as now. Not only are the gender equations in this village the most unconventional, there is also a remarkable progress in the socio-economic order of the village.
पहले हमारे गांव में इंसान भी नहीं रहते थे, सब दाढ़ की करवा निकल जाते, कहीं कोटा, कहीं भोपाल, कहीं गुजरात, कहीं निकल जाते थे इंदौर तक. अब हम शुरू से बैरानी कुंडली शुरू करी तो हमारा मतलब पैसा भी बचत कर ली थी. खुद मतलब बायों ने ग्राउंड बैंक में मतलब बैंक खोल ली थी, खुद जाती है बायां जमा करना, खुद निकाल के लाती है. अब हमारा पुरुष लोगों को भी जंगल की रक्षा में घास भी मिली रहा, जला लकड़ी भी गिरी हुई भी मिल जाए और आराम से घास मिले, 2000-2500 घर में रख ले, बसे वो बाहर मतलब बेच देते हैं, वो पैसे आते हैं गरम कोष में जमा कर लेते.
Badli Bai was introduced to the operations of a bank only 3 years ago, while Naina Lal is the highest paid bank executive in the country. Yet, their self-perceptions, their attitudes and mindsets are surprisingly similar. Naina Lal is the head of a multinational bank in India, a career woman symbolic of the personal advances achieved by women.
I think I was pretty certain that marriage wasn't the be-all and end-all of my existence. It was important for me to achieve something beyond being a mother and a wife, whatever. So in my mind, I don't think it was an either-or decision. I knew I wanted a career. I knew I also would get married. It was just a function of one coming a little later than the other.
Naina's sister Nanita Lal shares the same independence of thought. She's an amateur golf player, a passion considered non-traditional until very recently. For many years, she was ranked as the best golfer. But there are times when for even the best of career women, every next promotion becomes a renegotiation with the self and the family. Motherhood is still a dilemma for a majority of working women.
You know, there comes a break in your career, whether it's to do with the time you're having your children. That definitely cuts into your playing time. Now, I've had a 2-year sabbatical from golf because I've had a baby. And I'm finding it extremely difficult to get back into it, you know, because of maybe of being a mother. You know, you're torn between wanting to be there with your little one as well as be fair to whatever job you're doing. Whereas for a man, those breaks don't come. Neither when he gets married, because he still carries on doing what he wants to do, I mean, because he's expected to, and he doesn't have the problem of, I mean, a baby arriving in the family doesn't alter his work situation in any way.
The renegotiation happens when it's something which is a little difficult. And I remember when I just discovered I was to have a baby, and the big boss of my firm called me in, and only, you know, my parents, my husband knew that we just learned this like 2 days before. And the boss called me in and said he had this great job for me, which was to head up a global service, which was going to require me to like travel to 8 points in the world about 4 or 5 times a year. And it was, you know, he was calling me in really to give me this sort of big promotion, if you call it. And here I was like, oh my God, how am I going to break the news to him? So I did. And I told him that, look, this is the situation. The next day, I told him I need to think it over, went back and told him this is the situation. And he just looked me in the eye and said, well, you tell me, do you want to do the job or not? I said, well, I'd like to give it a try. So he said, fine, the job's yours. Look at the risk he took. knowing that, I could have been grounded for 8 months. The job would have just hung around. So it was a renegotiation in the family in that everyone was like, oh my God, are you sure you're doing the right thing?
Naina is now past the initial struggles of career and motherhood. The ease with which she blends her high-powered job and family life is remarkable. Her strength and her quiet confidence defies the cliched image of an Indian woman. Women in non-traditional professions is not just an urban phenomenon. This massive iron door has been created by a fragile village woman. Ramvati was illiterate and ignorant, landless and penniless, like many other farmers who have lost their land to the unstoppable cycle of so-called progress. With no means to earn, 4 children and an ailing husband, Ramvati existed on the fringes of survival. For Ramvati and future generations, survival turned into living when she was selected for training in a money-generating profession by the Lupin Human Welfare Foundation, an NGO whose dedicated women activists is a familiar face to every villager in Cincinnati. The organization is working towards the financial liberation of village women by providing training and credit facilities.
We are provided soft loans from RMK, Rashtriya Mahila Course, and they are running their small entrepreneur. Among 25 women, first we have provided 25 women training also and loan. And among 25, 20 women are fully successful. They are running their small entrepreneur, a fully successful entrepreneur. At time to time, we are conducting training program for refresher and training program for orientation and exposure visit to another place, women's group and entrepreneur areas.
Welding is not traditionally a female domain, yet Ramvati chose to train herself at it. She was given an initial credit of 2,500 rupees to set up her enterprise, along with the facility of taking a new loan after paying off the earlier one. Today, after 5 years of hard work, she has paid off all her loans and also saved enough to construct her house. Doors made by her now are popular and demands are pouring in, not just from her own village, but from bigger towns like Agra and Bharatpur.
कुछ मेरे मन में नहीं ये काम पसंद आया मेरे। क्यों? जान आमदनी तो है। कितनी आमदनी है? जान आमदनी ऐसी है कि कहाँ में 100 रुपया तो कम गए ही ना है बचत है रोजंदारी खर्चा काट के बिजली के पूरे अब खुश हैं जब खुश नहीं है तुम भाई सबको पैसा देती होंगी है हाँ अब तो पैसा दें बीड़ी तक को पैसे दूंगे अभी बीड़ी तक के हस्बैंड को पैसा दे रही है अब तो मैं बीड़ी तक को पैसे दूं जब निकलेंगे बीड़ी में पैसा ना आया दुकान पे पैसे नहीं आया तो पैसा दे मेरे लिए अच्छा तो घर का पूरा पैसा का हिसाब किताब पर आपके हाथ पे है हाँ पूरा चार्ज मेरे हाथ है
Financial independence has given Ramvati a new confidence. She has now more dreams to fulfill. She realizes that education is the key for her and her daughters. From mother to daughter, the cycle of empowerment has begun. It is not just Ramvati's story of achievement against tremendous odds, but the story of diligent women's activism. This shift from homemaker to bread earner has neither been quick nor easy. Women have not been passive recipients of miraculous changes in laws and human nature. More and more women are stepping out to effect these changes. Poonam is the first girl in her family to move from her village to a metropolis. She was in search of opportunities to realize her dreams. It wasn't easy. She was breaking the rules.
अब ये परंपरा हमारे जो परिवार में थी कि लड़कियां बाहर नहीं निकलेंगी, खेलेंगी नहीं या वो सर्विस लाइन में नहीं आएंगी, मैंने तोड़ी है। अच्छा किया, अगर मैं ना तोड़ती किसी और को तोड़ना पड़ता। शुरुआत तो होनी थी, मुझसे होगी तो बहुत अच्छा है।
Poonam is only 22 years old. That's the average age here. The girls, all staying away from home, go through a rigorous physical training, pushing their bodies to actualize the vision of their minds. In the choice of their profession is reflected their question and challenge to the deeply rooted systems, values, and role divisions.
Most of them are probably the first generations in uniform. These are women who are experimenting almost with their whole social conditioning. Therefore, mental tenacity with a lot of being personally in charge of their personal lives. Because after being so tough and trained in such a tough way, somebody else should not be taking decisions on their personal lives as to who they marry, when they become a mother, who manages their household, how much of house management they participate in.
Learning to be in charge implies that they're not followers. They may have to walk alone, take their chances, and be prepared to face the consequences.
इस लाइन में हमें मेनली लगता है कि हम कुछ काम कर सकते हैं आगे, थोड़ा अलग हटके. जैसे लड़कियों की लाइन है, नॉर्मली है टीचर बन गई वो, तो टीचर को वैसे रिस्पेक्ट मिलती है, लेकिन एक अलग जगह नहीं मिल पाती उनको. इस लाइन में है एक पुलिस लाइन में है लड़की, तो सब जानते हैं, थोड़ा फेम सब चाहते हैं.
Poonam and Yamin do not know each other, but what Yamin is, Poonam wants to be. From a little girl in Assam who wasn't allowed to ride bicycles to a confident deputy commissioner of police, Yamin has overcome her own conservative conditioning.
I think it is basic confidence in yourself. You should not think that you're a shadow of someone or you don't have an identity of your own. Even a housewife can have an identity of their own, absolutely. I mean, you don't have to be working or something to have an identity and a status. It's the way you feel about yourself, basically. If you feel you're good about yourself, or you feel, you are all right, or you have a status, and you're a strong person from inside, kind of a thing.
As in charge of Crime Against Women Cell in Delhi, Yamin has to resolve many disturbing cases. Sexual abuse, violence against women, and gender biases are realities which have to be contended with. Her job demands an acute sense of gender justice, a thorough understanding of notions of femininity, marriage, and family.
Everyone wants to get married because, for whatever, one main consideration I feel is they feel they're inadequate somehow if they don't get married. Which after, I'm married now and I feel maybe that's not really important. Okay, having children is important to a woman. Well, you can adopt children also. You don't have to get into a marriage kind of a thing.
Yamin had to create her own opportunities. But while Yamin had the example of senior women officers to follow, Surekha had the additional strain of being a pioneer. She is the first lady locomotive driver in India. A daughter of a farmer, Surekha grew up watching trains passing through the fields. She would wait tirelessly to hear the distant whistle of an approaching train. In a village, to become a train driver is tough. To be a lady train driver on a goods train and to be the first one seemed impossible to everybody, except Surekha.
The instructor started saying that we are not going to give any type of training. Till now, no Indian lady has, done this type of work. So you please go back to the headquarters and you get your job changed.
Such negative reactions only strengthened the resolve. Finally, the officers agreed to train her. But even with their cooperation, it wasn't easy. The job meant staying online for long, odd hours without basic facilities. But she realized that if she gave up, it was not just her, but all women who'd lose their chances of working as train drivers.
If my counterpart can do, my colleague can do, why I could not? It was, pinching me. Why should I? Everything is in my hand now. I have passed the examinations. I passed psychotest. I passed the PME. Everything. Just as my male, colleague. Then why should I go back? Being a lady, only because of I being a lady, my, conscience does not permit me to go back. I said, let it be. Instead of giving up today, I'll give up today. Tomorrow, I'll try and then give up. Without trying, till the end, I would have not forgiven myself.
Group 649, permission start.
It is now a question of equal opportunities. Armed forces was a hotly contested male domain until the first batch of women pilots joined the Indian Air Force in 1995. Another outlandish idea that has come to pass as the young women take changes completely in their stride.
I don't see any difference other than in the anatomy. Nowhere has it been proved that women are less intelligent or less. We've got the same brain. Big deal.
The most intrinsic change is visible in the way young women perceive themselves. An increasing sense of self-worth is visible in their thoughts and in actions. Marriage, once a necessity, is becoming a choice for many.
Family is definitely important. I would want a family who accepts me the way I am. They shouldn't put me in a position where I'm, out of compulsion, I have to withdraw from it.
While Anuradha is at ease with her concepts, her persona and her lifestyle for the people around her, she is still a novelty.
People look up to us with a lot of awe that is there. They want to touch and feel and, oh my God, this is a flyer, it's a woman. My parents didn't really stress on, they in fact never really told me I was a girl or a boy. I was just me, an individual. And my parents, they presented me with dolls and cricket bats. My father, in fact, on my birthdays always gave me sports equipment. So there was no discrimination at all. I got the same freedom. I made my own decisions. And mostly I informed them about what I was going to do.
It is the manner in which a girl child is raised in society that shapes her destiny. If she is brought up as an equal, she wouldn't accept anything less, nor would she be anything less. Indira Sharma is earning a well-deserving salary of 1 lakh rupees a month.
I feel that's my dignity, my pride, and my freedom. Money gives you freedom. It does. So I wouldn't want to bargain on my freedom.
These are women who are constructing a new definition of womanhood and inspiring others to aspire for a more fulfilling life.
There was a passenger who had come with his little daughter. They were traveling as passengers, and after we landed, they wanted to talk to me. And the father brought around his little girl, and he said, "Look at this auntie, and I want you to be this. It would be nice if you would be this." And I asked her, I said, "Do you want to be a pilot?" And she said, "Yes." So I think I really felt nice that, a father wanted his girl to do something different, and the girl responded so positively. I think that did make my day.
Women and girls today are living the legacy of women's movements that generations of women before us have given their best to achieve. The staggering changes for women that have come about over the years in family life, in government, in education, in employment. These changes did not just happen spontaneously. Women themselves have made these changes happen very deliberately.
Empowerment to me is education.
Empowerment means when a woman's opinion is taken seriously.
Basically, I think it's having faith in yourself as a person. Empowerment is you just allow a woman to be the way she is.